Salut, le live commence bientôt. Attends. Allô, ça va? Ça m'arrive trop fort. Alors, c'est faire
A
un
lot of
jeu
this isn't
fucking
going to make
détente.
sense to you, and I'm sorry about that.
C'est un jeu détente
I'm
qu'ils
just
font
going to start
faire.
at the beginning, with the house.
Alors, juste le dire, on peut même pas courir dans le jeu. Je me trompe pas.
I lived here until I was
C'est
11,
What's
but I wasn't allowed
Remain.
inside half the rooms.
Besoin de voir. C'est What's Remain of Edith Finch. C'est genre un jeu qui raconte la mort de sa famille. Là. Bon, comme toute mort, juste elle.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Sinon, toi, qu'est-ce que tu fais?
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Il y a quand même, YouTube m'a demandé si je devais mettre ton commentaire. Ton site, point là. Gentil, j'ai marqué chaud, là. On va aller voir ce qu'il y a en bas. Moi, je suis une faire amazonienne, genre, c'est quoi. Seconde. Bon. Pas pire. Ouais. Sais-tu que ça me rentre? Il est sorti, mais.
No one had driven this way in a long
Ta mère
time,
avait dit ça.
but I saw a few hoof prints.
Oh, un caribou.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it.
I'm king of
But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers
Qui pourrait
to.
être poulet? Tu me donner plus d'indices. Blague, toi, pis ta côte de paysan, je t'entends pas. Ah, ça se peut. Ça pourrait être qui fait ça? Attends, juste voir quelque chose. Ouais, je me dis aussi c'était ça, mais attends. Je vais turn off mon cell si je peux avoir un petit peu plus une connexion internet.
The house was
Non,
exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Ouais, c'est vrai, j'en reste en plus une invitation. Gros, mais check-moi cette maison-là, man, elle a...
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Mais gros, c'est pas une maison, c'est une bungalow en Inde, ça.
Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Elle a peur. Je sais pas, ils vont pas rentrer par la porte principale, comme dans ce jeu.
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
Screamer, j'espère.
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
Il y a combien d'affaires à la maison? Genre le jeu, genre les effets sonores sont extrêmement bien faits pour un jeu fait par des indépendants. C'est fait par des développeurs choses indépendants, une petite compagnie. C'est extrêmement bien fait à date là. Peux-tu rentrer par là genre? Ben non. I calice.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Cool. Ah, gros, mais c'est intéressant à voir. Je crois qu'on faut avoir la patience de faire des jeux comme ça. Là.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
Hey, tu peux avoir une maison plus remplie que ça, genre? C'est ça?
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Ils ont mangé des ramen. C'est chiant. Ouais. Ah, mais check ça, je mange des ramen. Oh, ça m'a l'excuse.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
Tu comprends?
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Ah, c'est ça, genre. On tourne. Ah, c'est pas que je suis méchant, mais comment on tourne? Ben... Est-ce que va sortir de là, genre?
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
Ah, c'est chill. Je vais voir l'étage, moi. Ah, non. Je checkais le commentaire, mais je me suis trompé de place. Oh shit, man, c'est nice, ça.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room.
Oh, ben.
Louis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Aïe aïe!
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
I'm so chill, man.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door.
Gros, mais dans le placard, ça
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Bon, tu es en train de scanner. Ok. Je sais jamais ce qui se passe dans la vie de personne.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Ah, gros, il est nice son lit. Ouais.
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
On fouille ça change là. Ah, oh, qui est morte. T'es morte?
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here. Before my mom sealed the doors.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it. Mom, can I come out
Une
now?
belle époque, tu sais.
God, it's late. Go to sleep.
Alex. La belle époque que les nazis gagnaient encore. Yo, il y avait un poisson. Mange-le ton assis de poisson.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Ben j'espère qu'Alice c'est Christopher. Ah, quelqu'un d'autre qui se présente dans notre beau live. Allons-nous recevoir une réponse? Bonjour. Il me faut genre, est-ce qu'il faut juste check quelque chose, genre? Ah, ici. Ah, mais gros, moi j'ai 14 ans, j'ai toujours pas de salle de bain dans ma
I
chambre.
kept eating and eating.
Yo, je sais pas si toi, Alex, t'as dit ça dans ta chambre.
I ate a lot of things that night.
En finant à l'hôpital, la conne, là. Si tu manges l'eau des toilettes pendant que tu y es.
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
Oh!
It was a barn swallow going back to her nest.
Bon,
I
la
reached out
fille
for her.
est crissement sucraque, genre. Oh fuck.
And suddenly,
Oh, what the fuck?
I was a cat.
C'est sous crack, man, c'est sûr. Je te jure, ça, j'ai raison. Elle est sous crack.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Yo, j'ai où? Ah, putain, ça, de te manger mon calice. Manger, calice. Le gros, il est ici. Ah.
Mom and Dad
So
didn't
bitch.
even look at me.
Il est là à savoir que leur fille, man, allait être là-dessus? Oh shit, je vais 316 là-dessus.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I
Mais
cared
Chris de
about
conne,
was
c'est
eating
figurant
that
que t'es
on the
dans la merde, là.
I gobbled her up,
Oh fuck.
and suddenly I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Il est où le sti? Il fait un...
Rabbits.
You're on a rabbit. Salut.
I imagined his face looking up
Tout le
and
temps
seeing
reste.
mine through my talons.
Yo, on vient de
I
manger un
swallowed him
lapin
up,
cru, là.
and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Au plus gros, tu manges le même avant que tu, Chris?
A mama rabbit.
On se fait une maman rabbit. Gros, t'es dans la merde de grosse. Allez, ici. Qu'est-ce que je cherche? Ah, ils sont pas dans ma chambre, j'ai pas d'iPhone. J'ai pas d'iPhone, moi. Ah, là-bas. En quoi?
She was almost too big to carry.
Ah, c'est trop
I
lourd.
started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Aïe aïe. Toi aussi, Alex, tu te transformes en requin la semaine? Ouch.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean.
Moi aussi.
Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Hey gros, je l'ai craqué.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Allez, viens, de gros, j'ai faim. Allez, gros.
I grabbed on tight,
Un
but
rook.
I was so hungry, I
Madame,
jumped out
madame,
of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Aïe, aïe, je te serpent. Je suis malade. Hey gros, je suis pas un serpent, là. Je m'entends
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Hey yo, on va là. Je vais manger un humain, moi.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Y'a, tu vois, là, je t'ai dit. Moi, mes occupations en fin de semaine, c'est de me transformer en monstre. Le jeu est bizarre, mais il est nice, en esti.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Minimum footer, ouais. Capitaine dans... Oh, t'es marde. Chanter, merci. Tellement. Hey gros, on va ruiner ta vie. T'es prêt? Madame, ta mère.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Excellent. Flop. Arc. Des chiottes, hostie. Menum.
I got closer and closer.
Yo, c'est moi. I'm here to kill you.
All my stomach started growling.
Chercher, tu peux pas me
And
voir.
suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Dans le fond, la petite Chris, elle s'est suicidée, genre. Petite.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Ça, c'est fait kidnapper, ouais, c'est suicidé sans faire attention. Bob, le poisson, tu l'as encore là? Ah non, Roger est pas là. Sub bitch.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg, and their newborn son, Johan.
Ah, une troisième personne que nous accueillons aujourd'hui. Trois. Quelqu'un d'autre qui est là.
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island.
T'as-tu fini Skyrim, Alex?
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house. Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Juste ça. Ah! Zéro fois.
Even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Ah ben tabarnak. Yo. Une chaise pour prendre son bain.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
Je pense qu'il manque de rose dans la chambre.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Je te promets, lit qu'il n'y a pas de charge. Ben, la clé. C'est quoi dans le bathroom? Oh.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Je suis intelligent. Mais tu joues à quel Skyrim? On se pencher. Oh, je sais pas. On se dit qu'il y en avait deux. Tu vois, chez les gens. C'est pour se suicider, ça.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and
Ah,
that
est-ce
he
qu'il est
never talked
mort?
about him.
Calvin. Yo, une salle de contrôle en haut.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than
Ils
my
ont
mom
eu la
did.
chance, eux. Check ça, la salle de contrôle.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Ça se voit. Il se balance quand même avec un pied, là.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did.
Oh, ça devient agaçant de se balancer, là. Ça, man, ils sont balancés pas droit en plus. Oh! Balancer avec les deux pieds. Il va me
At
catcher.
Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Ouais, hein, c'est juste...
Calvin, dinner's ready.
Ouais, attends, on va sauter dans la falaise, là.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible.
Hey, je veux bien que tu fasses
Maybe if I hadn't
balance,
said
là.
that.
T'es devant une petite falaise big, là.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Oh, on va le faire, là, c'est ton astuto. Yes, on l'a fait, man. Faire un autre, si tu veux. On va faire encore un autre.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Hey, gros, je l'ai dit, tu sois volant en faisant ça. C'est qui est brillant, man, s'envoler.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. C'est une famille d'autistes, man.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
C'est so perfect. Tout. Ah, mais on s'entend, là, le gars qui a construit la maison, il a un petit problème dans la tête, là. Ah ouais. Je vais accéder à la trappe magique.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Ah, les vents plus petits. Ah, il est enceinte, la grosse.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Ah, elle est enceinte.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Gros, il y a encore le gâteau, là, ça fait des années, là. Y'a rien qui pourrait dans cette maison-là? Dreadful story.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream.
No, that's child to go.
Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter.
What's called a lush film, Alex?
Comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Hey gros, ok, faut que je joue. Allez go, je suis down.
And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Rick?
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Prends la petite béquille maintenant, on va aller fesser du monde, que ça. Hey gros, pas le fuck all, là, ma béquille.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Je suis prêt à vous tuer.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear! Rick?
I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious.
Oh, okay.
All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Ah, catch pas, man. Genre, le petit cri, man, tu fais pas juste... Ah, c'est pas... Encore la béquille?
Walter,
Ouais.
are you there?
Là, le
Walter
gros.
had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
Hey, ta mère, man.
And whoever he was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned.
Yo.
He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over
Putain,
yet.
cette grosse tapette. Ouais, il est parti en bas, genre.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom.
Mais c'est que.
Unfortunately, so did her fans.
Attendez,
First the
attendez.
police
Alex a fait une vidéo de lui.
Vous êtes présentement dans la vidéo explication de qu'est-ce que c'est cette fucking chaîne-là. Parce que oui, vous avez vu que la chaîne s'appelle Papy le communiste. Je suis pas un papy, mais je suis communiste. Pour de vrai, c'est juste un pseudo. Je savais pas quoi choisir. Mais bon, voilà. Je voulais juste me lancer sur YouTube parce que je m'étais dit,
Oh.
j'y vais y aller. Puis je vais juste faire des vidéos genre de même, une fois, de temps en temps. C'est juste pour vous parler du sujet, éventuellement plein d'autres types de vidéos. En fait, je sais même pas dans quel type de vidéo je vais.
T'as pu mettre de l'éclairage, le gros, là.
Je vais
Ouais.
pouvoir
Ah, correct, ouais.
télécharger n'importe quel type de vidéo, n'importe quand. Je veux pas être un podcaster nul, que les vidéos aient vraiment aucun rapport entre les deux. Ou oui.
Ah, c'est trop long. Tenez. Ah, t'es populaire, man. Toi aussi, t'es populaire comme moi. Ah non, dude, c'est nice, là. Ah non, sérieux, c'est quand même forcé, ça, que ça paraît bien. Je suis fier. Je suis fier d'Alex.
blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Attendez.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
En tout cas, cette affaire qui est elle, son cette histoire, là. Je sais pas si je suis à faire. Bon, on a pas ça, c'est pas ça. Regarde. Ah, je vais y aller. Faut juste que je passe par là. C'était en chambre.
I guess
right?
now I know why Mom doesn't like me playing with the music box.
Dans la chambre de la... Là. On va aller checker ça, là.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing Edie's father Odin built the original house. It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key. Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Ah, excuse Alex, on va pas retourner dedans. Je veux pas le calice. Je m'en fous pas, je pense. Mon live, faut que je fasse quoi, là?
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left. I wonder if that comic was right about there being a key inside the music box near the basement.
Ah, c'est vrai, man, j'avais checké l'affaire de merde, là. Attendez, tourne. On va me tuer, je rentre là, genre. Hey, gros, il est chill dans le sol, là. Ouais, c'est incroyable, c'est une porte
I saw
d'entrée.
Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
Guys.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
Ah, ça, c'est clairement pas sa chèque crédit vu qu'il a fait, genre.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Onze fenêtre.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today.
Yo, c'est quoi ça?
I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can.
Ok, on va s'enfuir Alex, t'es prêt? Yo, il y a des fucking problèmes des livres dans sa maison là, man. Il y a des livres partout. Il y a encore des provisions ici, Chris de menteur.
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Ah, dans le fond, il y avait peur du train qui passait. Gros, le train qui passe normal, là. Écoute, c'est peur de ça.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Non, sa mère est cachée de steak.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Just go. Bon, on t'en va pas là-dedans, ça? On va. Le jeu a l'air vraiment simple à terminer. Alex. Avoue
Maybe it'd
tes
be better if all
games
this just
de
died
finir
with
le
me.
jeu ce soir avec moi. Donc on se parle sur le PS ou
But
tu
I
restes
thought
sur
you
le
should know
live.
about your family.
Ah, je sais.
And the history you're a part of.
Ah, c'était game de finir le jeu genre ce soir avec moi.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Hey, t'as pire. Fais-le-moi encore, là. Ça fait combien de minutes que j'étais en diffusion, là? Je vais faire 55 minutes de live, là. Ah, tu sur live qui.
And when you look at the house, it had that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness.
Ben.
Any of it seems possible.
Ah, gros, ça fait des années que j'ai pas fait ça, là. Je me souviens, il y avait oui, puis il y avait la boxe, là. Tu vois, jouer avec l'autre petite affaire, là. C'était malade, là. C'était awesome. Et gros, ben, c'était chill, là, l'histoire du jeu. Il y avait l'air gentil. Il y avait.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before
Gros, le
starting
4,
a house?
le 4 octobre, j'ai une sortie à la montagne encore. Chaque petite donnée, faut qu'on décolle ça à la montagne. Il y a chaud au bout, man, la sortie de montagne. Il y a personne qui veut faire ça, là.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but
Et au
the
système
pet
de la famille.
cemetery may be more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
J'ai causé de ma
Sven
faute.
built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Le 5 décembre 64, 2005, 1960, 47. Yo! Ah, Molly, il n'y a pas vu que longtemps. Calvin non plus, il est mort en 65. Yo! Oh, la petite fille, elle a à peine
I'm sure
5-6
Odin's
ans.
monument had been Edie's
Je me
idea.
spoil.
My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
Ah, ça, c'est
Edie
la
said
ancienne
she
maison.
dreamed about the old house every night.
Gros, je suis installé dans un esti de courant d'air, genre, c'est frais dans la maison.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Okay.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Comme tu gardes la maison t'avant, là, à peu près 1 million, là, tout ce que t'as dedans. Là. Je sais pas. Alex Immobilier,
But
tu
looking
sais
back on it now,
comment ça va?
if she told me there was going to be so much climbing,
Peut-être plus proche mon micro.
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Enceinte de 2 semaines. Je dirais que quelqu'un est sur mon live, pour faire chier. Tu joué à juste Aïe, yo, ils ont une forêt d'hectares, là. Je sais pas si c'était eux. C'était eux, mais t'avant, là. T'as fait raser ou n'importe quoi, là.
I never met
Avant.
Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Ah, mais moi, je pense que je rencontre une belle maison, là. Tu fais passer le Wi-Fi et tout ça, là. C'est une belle house, là. Après là, c'est là, que. Je crois une vidéo de quoi, là. What the fuck?
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. What? Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
Bon,
You're
les
right,
gars.
Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee. Hey!
That's a keeper. Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time.
On finit par trouver, là.
Give me a minute to check the map. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
En gros, il y avait l'île, mais t'as pas l'air là-dedans que je photographie ça. C'est un animal sauvage, genre.
Let's see. Maybe.
Intéressant.
Or was it?
Y a un oiseau dans l'arbre?
It could have been.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn.
Bon, on devrait me faire chier.
Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong.
Shit.
Great shot, Dawn!
Alex. Salut, c'est moi Thierry l'aventurier.
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Je suis au calme devant ma fille qui dort, qui pleure. Il est mort comme ça.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my
Il
mom
avait
had
50
told
80
me.
qui a vécu la guerre mondiale. Je pense qu'il est américain, mais je suis pas sûr.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Bon, je suis supposé checker quoi là? Il doit y avoir un œil là-dedans, genre. Même pas. Gros, même le vieux avait un passage secret là. Ah oui, seul.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Là, il y a une galerie en haut.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Ben.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Ça, c'est de la LSD, mon gars. Je me connais, là.
Bath time's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
Allez, gros mal, sur mes amis.
What his world was like.
Shit, le canard, c'est bien.
He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination.
Mais d'où tu laisses un enfant comme ça, tout seul?
Whatever it was, he saw.
Ah ouais, man, fais-moi ton vélo. Attends, on va t'arranger quelque chose.
It sure made him happy. how silly it sounds. That I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it.
Hero est
Hold on, I don't
agréable.
want her to hear this.
I wish she could have told us.
Yeah, moi aussi j'ai un banc qui se remplit vite à ce point-là. Là. Ah, tu vas faire 1h10 qu'on est en discussion.
Hey, there's so much I don't understand. About Gregory. About everything.
Oh, we need to floating.
But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy.
Ben, je sais pas, je vais voir les gens.
Want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Aïe, pauvre petit cul, man, il a vécu 1 an. Je regrette même pas. Puis en haut, à l'escalade.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Je veux bien que... Regarde, Alex, admettons, là, t'es rendu sous-gelé, là. Comment tu fais, man? C'est pas normal.
I can't imagine what it was like for her to lose 2 sons after she'd already lost 2 brothers. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Essaye de rentrer sous puis rentrer dans ta chambre, man. Tu t'endormes avec le bébé.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Attends, je me montrer ça. Ah, c'est ça,
my mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Ça place de grandir en grandeur puis
Things were good.
en largeur.
Almost normal.
On faisait l'école à la maison. Alors, attends. Attends, c'est péri. Le Cuba, le Congo, l'Amazonie. Ouais. Tu vas faire observation, question, on va voir. Je sais pas. Ok.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Gros, mais d'où tu quittes une maison si chill que ça? C'est ça, le gros? Non, t'as un asti de lit. Je vais monter comme ça.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush. I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Ah, dans le fond, le gars, est-ce que je suis comme ça?
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Ouais, c'est chiant pour lui. Gros scellé, c'est scellage. Sinon, Alex, toujours en vie?
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Attends, il y a des shit plus haut que ça en plus? Ouais, oui, ok. Non, tiens, on sait jamais, là. Est-ce que je me souviens de les jeux?
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Louis's room smelled very...
Avoue, man, Alex, c'est trop malade,
That part of him lived on.
Sa chambre. Man, t'as 2 affaires de pied qui m'ont tout ça, c'est malade.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Louis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it.
Oh.
He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head.
C'est pas oui, là. T'as joué un magasin.
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
Okay.
Like a whole new Lewis.
It's new Lewis.
So I let him go on.
Man, ça s'agrandit son petit jeu.
I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
Ça, man, j'ai fucking mal au doigt.
He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
No, l'autre,
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon.
What's up, bitch?
Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Ok. Lorsque je travaille.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Sûr que si je fais ça toute la journée, je fais rien d'autre.
I still thought I could save him.
Alex, je pense qu'on a bientôt fini le jeu, by the way.
Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Et gros, c'est ça, ces personnages-là. Oh, il y a quelqu'un d'autre. Bonjour, nouvelle personne.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
Alex, c'est encore en vie. Ok, bon, peut-être fatigué. Peut-être mort.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Non, je l'ai pas vu le connaître.
Louis and I
Ouais,
spent a
hein.
lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Ça, bitch.
On the way back from Louis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Non, mais c'est pas du tout.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Tu as de finir le jeu, man. On est... Ça... I comprendo que ta famille est
The
morte.
thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car and... I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
Ooh! Check sellers, man, Alex.
We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Bon. Alex, on vit l'histoire. C'est quand même triste, enfin. C'est écrit sur un bon jeu. Ce soir, là. Bon, ben, on a fait beaucoup de temps. Alors, je vais se dire. Attends. Plus 1h40 environ. Ah, moi aussi. Ouais, merci pour la belle diffusion, c'était vraiment le fun. Tous ceux qui sont venus. Ciao tout le monde. Peace. Eh ouais.